When you change your mindset, everything changes. And I'm going to explain why in this video. Now, the whole concept of how your thoughts and your mindset affects your actions was first deduced by a man called James Allen in his book As a Man Thinketh. And this was over 100 years ago he thought this up. And the title As a Man Thinketh actually comes from a quote from the Bible. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And this comes from the book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 7. And the book opens with this passage. Mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and evermore he takes, the tool of thought, and, shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. Now, of course, bear in mind, this was written over 100 years ago. From a male perspective, it could just as easily apply to a woman as a man. So it could be, and woman is mind and evermore she takes. It doesn't really matter. It's just the parlance of the time. But it's as true today as it was back then. And As a Man Thinketh is still in print, and it's still available today. If you go to Amazon.com, you can see there are lots of different versions of it available at varying prices. Or if you come here to YouTube, you can actually find the audiobook online here. You've got the full audiobook here, and there's also various versions of it available as well, and so you can listen to it for free. And the thing is, though, quite often we're conditioned from childhood to be negative, or as my father used to say, to be realistic, and you just sort of get burdened down with it over time, and it can really start to drag down because people tell you all the time, oh, you can't do that, or it'll never happen, and you're not good enough. And you start to think in your mind, oh, why bother? Well, enough. Because you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. Now, a good way to actually change your mindset and to start thinking the right sort of thoughts is to reprogram your brain using a process known as CBT. Now, CBT stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. And this is a framework you can use to try and change the way you think. And in so doing, you can improve a number of beliefs and behaviors. And this uses a combination of practicing, testing, and assessing your own thoughts in order to attempt cognitive restructuring, in order to change the way that your mind works from a more negative way to a more positive way, so you can start to see the opportunities and you can start to be more positive and to change your mindset to one that is more goal orientated than perhaps you have at the moment. And CBT also teaches mindfulness, which has a number of different applications. And one particularly interesting use for mindfulness is to help increase your own sense of gratitude for what you already have. Now, this is very important. If you aren't able to appreciate the things you have already and what you have already achieved, you'll find that nothing you accomplish brings you any closer to being happy and fulfilled. So make sure you spend the time to think about the things that you're grateful for in life and the things that you've already done well. And everybody has things in their life that they can be grateful for. Everybody has done things in the past and they've done them well. So you want to bear that in mind while you're trying to reprogram your brain using CBT. And some people find listing 4 things they're thankful for each morning can really help, because that can really start to set you on a more positive frame of mind, because you're going to think of the things that you're grateful for, the things that you're thankful for, and that's going to get you into a more positive frame of mind at the start of the day, and that's going to carry on throughout the rest of your day, and you're going to be into that positive thinking frame of mind. And also bear in mind that no matter where you are in your life right now, there are probably people who would love to be in your shoes. You know, there's always someone who's worse off than you are. No matter how bad things are, there's always going to be somebody who's going to be, 10 times worse than you are at the moment. Even though sometimes, when you're feeling really down, when you're feeling really negative, when you're feeling really unhappy, you can perhaps find that a little difficult to comprehend, that, when everything's sort of bearing down. But things are always worse for somebody else. So you should always be grateful for what you have and be positive and thankful for it. Now, while there are many different aspects to CBT, there is a basic process most people can follow to start achieving more things and feeling more satisfied with their accomplishments. So let's go through some of the steps. And step number 1 is mindfulness. And the process starts by being mindful of your current thoughts and reflecting on what you currently think on a regular basis. What thoughts are destructive and potentially holding you back? And what can you do about that? Mindfulness can be used as a form of meditation, or you can use journaling, which simply means writing down the thoughts as they come to you or at the end of the day. Step number 2 is thought challenging. And this is the process of challenging your beliefs and thoughts. Does your limiting belief really have any merit? And when you do this, you'll often find that actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have any merit whatsoever. And sometimes, because things worked badly for you in the past, it doesn't mean that it's going to work out the same way in the future, because circumstances around you will change. So, step number 3 is hypothesis testing. Think you can't speak in front of that crowd? Think you'll get laughed at if you ask that woman or man out? Well, try it. You'll find the reality is rarely as bad as you were worried it might be. And like I was saying, even if something hasn't worked in the past, times change, things change, people change, and you might find that if you try it again, it does work. And step number 4 is affirmations. Now, believe it or not, affirmations and mantras can work when they're well chosen. So repeat phrases that undermine the negative ruminations in your mind, and eventually they can completely replace those beliefs. And some people will say a mantra to themselves like, I am very lucky, money, wealth, and good fortune flows to me in abundance, instead of, oh, I'm broke and there's nothing going on and I'm living a miserable life and yada, yada, yada. So when you follow these 4 steps, you can start to reprogram your brain using CBT. And once you've done that, then you'll find that things start to go much better for you, because you're in a much better frame of mind.